America's smartest Medicare and ACA minds. If you were on a previous panel, Ashley, Debbie, I'd ask you to log off so I can make some room for some other serious industry brass. Welcoming our third panel, we have some serious movers and shakers. Let's start from the bottom right. Excited to welcome Calvin Bagley, who is tuning in, I think, from the future, based on his set there, which is incredible. Calvin manages a serious FMO called Nuvo Health, is a advocate for insurance agents across the country, immensely involved in NABIB and just supporting agents. Calvin and I share a lot of the same thoughts and feelings about what insurance agents should be doing. And so very, very excited to have him. A friend of mine has grown to be a friend. I started as a fanboy, but now has grown to be a friend is Glen Shelton, who manages Hire Heroes and Lead Heroes. You may know him from the popular Facebook group, Seven Figure Medicare. Glen, so excited to have you on here today. You've hosted me on your podcast. Welcome to FLODay. This is our house over here, so it's an honor to have you. Korey Ashton from the Health Sherpa for Medicare team is here. An absolutely stacked resume, formerly a Sunfire team member, worked at Kaizen, one of our other partners, and is leading the Medicare division at Health Sherpa. Chris Hagerstrom, probably one of my favorite people on planet Earth. We have share a lot of the same music tastes. In senior leadership at one of America's greatest FMOs, Jack Schrader and Associates, and probably JSA, I would argue is one of the most forward-thinking technology FMOs in this country. I know that because so many JSA agents use RetireFlo, and then certainly saving one of the best for last. Justin Brock from Brock Partners is here, manager of the largest Medicare Facebook group, Medicare Monsters. I'm a proud monster myself, and longtime collaborator of ours. We're always at Medicare Con. We will be at Medicare Con this year, but I'm immensely proud. This is a group of people who is not messing around about agents. And so let's talk about agents. Will they still exist in 5 years? And how are agents going to stand the test of time? So, many of you are agents, formerly agents. What is a sign of an insurance agent who is going to be successful? Many of you deal with the onboarding in sort of the birth of new Medicare agents. I'll start with Justin Brock here, who manages BBI and Brock Partners, leading one of America's largest FMOs. When you meet with somebody, Justin, and they show they have that spark, what is it? What is it about them that sets them apart?
Normally, it's, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Normally it's that they either failed the licensing test or barely passed. So, no, we kind of have a joke in the office that the internal agents that we hire, the ones that do really, really well on the test the first time are probably going to struggle in sales. I think salespeople are inherently better when they don't overthink things. That just seems to be a truth. However, we've seen the flip side of that, where you've had some people who've come into this industry and think so little that they cause a lot of harm to the industry. And so just that base level of success to me is not overthinking and just going out and being a social butterfly. But the ones that do really well and build exceptional, operations tend to be people who are good creative marketers and not afraid to put money behind that marketing. And the ones that do the highest level of well are at least decent marketers and somehow become good operators. But most of these people don't come into the industry, with experience. So a lot of times it's where they create those skills, or we're one of those industries where people end up here. They don't like plan for it this way, and so. But it is an industry that happens to sharpen a lot of dull blades into pretty awesome operators and marketers. So for me, it's like they got to be that base level of not overthinking it, great salesperson, then being a creative marketer, thinking outside the box, not being afraid to put money where your mouth is, and then past that, it's being a good operator, being able to facilitate good relationships with a lot of people and create a culture with people that actually want to be a part of something you're building.
Korey, you take this from a little bit of the technology perspective. Talk to me about what you see in how agents use tech to stand out. I mean, what are the ones that come to you get excited about?
Yeah, well, and so a lot of the talks right now
Oh,
on technology.
JB, I was looking for Korey. I was looking for Korey on
Oh,
that one.
sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll come back to
No,
you. I got a question for you soon. So don't
perfect.
worry.
No, no, no.
No, you're good. It's funny. I thought you were asking Justin too.
I
So,
thought that might have been me. That might
um,
have been me.
no, you're good. And I would add like just the one other thing, to kind of to Justin's comments is like I think the people who are successful are really scrappy. I always say like I will 10 out of 10 hire somebody who has like that fire in their belly, right? Like they really have motivation. Like you have to have a little bit of ego to do what we do. But if you have too much ego, it gets in the way, right? Like you have to have somebody who's humble enough to learn. And like choosing good mentors and having good people around you, I think is the best thing that you can do for your career. So yeah, that's kind of last comments on that. From a tech perspective, I have preached my entire career, started as an agent myself. This is my 18th year in Medicare, and I have preached about owning kind of your own data. And I think that's gotten increasingly more important. And obviously, like there are some amazing FMO partners on here and friends of mine. And so by no means do I mean you shouldn't be able to rely on your upline for technology. Like there is going to be technology that your upline provides that frankly is just too expensive and labor intensive for you to do yourself. But making sure that you kind of have access to your clients and that you're maintaining records and that you own those records, I think is incredibly important. That's
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, owning your stuff is so important. And if you don't know who owns the data that's inside your platform, ask your
Hey,
platform.
Dalton, you got quiet on us, brother.
I know. I'm sorry about that. My mic died. It's because it's so
Oh
hot in
no.
this room right now. The lights are too much. But no, we must own our data. Glenn, you manage from an operational perspective are one of the leaders in the industry, especially with your hire heroes background. What do you see people agents doing well today from an operational perspective?
Yeah, and Dalton, first and foremost, happy birthday, brother. I mean, what a wild workaholic standpoint to host the biggest virtual conference in the industry on your birthday. I love it. I'm obsessed.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think this is a really great question. So, I think to me, what really separates agents who come into the industry and they crush it versus ones who kind of fizzle out, which we know there's a really high failure rate in the industry. It's really work ethic, right? I mean, folks who are coming in, they're willing to have a really high activity level versus someone who comes in and they think that some of these deals are going to just kind of fall into their lap. When I think about myself as an agent, when I first got into the industry and what really kind of helped set me up for success early on, it was being willing to work on the weekends, being willing to work in the evenings, making as many phone calls as I humanly could. And then what kind of starts to steer the ship after you have that activity level, you have that baseline of experience. I think it's starting to figure out, what is the most important thing as an agent that I can be working on that really drives the business, or whether you're an independent agent or you're an agency owner, there's usually only so much that really moves the needle. If you're trying to do everything yourself, you're probably not going to be as successful as if you're really focusing on your highest revenue generating activities.
Chris, I see you shaking your head. You know, talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. The one of the I've been in Medicare since Dalton was 9. So little context. One of the biggest indicators that I've seen of any successful agent in the Medicare space and even the ACA space is they really have that yes and attitude. And it's not just yes and from the products they offer, the people they serve. It's in all aspects of their business. You know, when you look at your tools and your team, like, okay, I understand what I need and what, and what. They're always looking for the next thing or the next tool or the next resource or the next product. And they're taking a very, I would say, pragmatic, realist approach to their business of just kind of embracing the opportunity that's in front of them and then constantly striving to do more. And a lot of agents would be surprised that it's not the big things that you need to do in the business that are really going to move the needle. It's how do you compound those small things? It's like how do you take a little step forward here, a little step forward there, and really reap the rewards of seeing that success grow with just those little increments as you move on and move forward.
Yeah, I want to ask Calvin what he thinks. You know, especially from, yeah, I see a lot of it, and I know Justin has some strong thoughts on this because I always follow on his stuff. But you know, and there's also an agent out there who has a big heart, who cares about other agents, who wants to get involved in advocacy and you know, Calvin, you're one of the leaders in this industry who does that. Is there a balance between, okay, I want to make sure that I'm in Washington with NABIB, you know, sticking up for myself and sticking up for my peers as agents, but then also, you know, how do you manage that with growing your business and growing sales at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can hear me, right? My first time
I sure
talking.
can.
Okay,
you win the award for best backdrop. I mean, we all have to give you. It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's not virtual. That's Vegas. I'm looking forward to all of you coming to visit me here at Medicarians in a few weeks. But you know, everything that's been said is really, really important. You know, the agents who succeed have a bias towards action. They are, you know, if you're sitting through this incredible meeting right now and you're saying, man, I wish this could last for 3 more days, you're going to be an agent that struggles. If you're in this meeting, you're saying, this is incredible content, but, you know, it's stretching me to my limit. I need to go do something. That's an agent that succeeds. And when it comes to advocacy, you know, I'm at a place in with my company where I have more time to do some of that. And it's not what everyone should be doing, is spending their day worrying about what's happening in Washington, D.C. But there are critical things that you can do to contribute, right? Are there critical times to participate? Are there critical times to speak up? Are there critical times to comment on the final rule? Absolutely. And that's why people like me and Justin and Amanda and others, we share information to get you to participate when it's needed. And there are other things you can do is support the organizations that are you know, working on your behalf, but you need to be a bias towards action and the things that will help your business to succeed. And you know, this whole thing is about agents. Will they exist in 5 years? And my answer to that is yes and no. The next 5 years are going to be hairy, and it's not just an agent thing. You know, if you're an attorney and you're writing contracts, well, guess what? AI can do that better than you now. And you're probably worried about what the future holds. And if you're an agent and you have built your business based on enrollment and not service, but just enrollment, I'm sure that many of you have known agents like that. All you do is enroll. And then after that, you leave people blind and you wait until they call you. You hope they don't call you. And then finally they call you because, you know, you didn't RetireFlo them. That's the new verb of the day. You didn't RetireFlo them. And so, you know, now they find out from their doctor's office that everything's screwed up and that their plan is no longer accepted, their medication is no longer covered, et cetera. If you're not servicing, then I don't think you're going to be around in 5 years, because there are very affordable ways that carriers and others will be able to get enrollment and to enroll people and to help people make decisions, you know? So that's it's kind of a hot take, a little bit, maybe a little bit controversial, but I think that there's going to be a great sifting now of really good agents who actually are providing value and others who were just enrolling people. And there will be an AI that replaces you if that's all you do. But if you're actually providing value and the things, we listen to your dad talk about what he does in his agency and how he's servicing those clients. That's the kind of thing that provides value. And what's happening right now behind closed doors is that carriers are talking about brokers. And I'll tell you what they're saying behind closed doors and what they're asking. They're asking, how are we earning our residuals? And you see a lot of action towards, quality. They talk about quality enrollment. They talk about benefit activation and all these other things. And I think what's coming in the next 5 years is that we have to do more to service our clients to be relevant. So that's my hot take on that.
Chris, I just watched a video you taped about artificial intelligence, and Calvin's talking about it. What, they probably don't look like the Terminator like I did a couple slides ago, but what does an agent look like in 5 years? Describe to me the systems that they use. Use your crystal ball, because I know that you spend a lot of time thinking about this.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest topic in the industry right now, and that's going to be probably one of the biggest topics that's talked about at Medicarians in a couple weeks is, what does AI mean for this business? And it's my crystal ball says a lot of different things, because I think about all aspects of it, but really it comes down to, how are we going to change the mindset amongst the agent community that AI isn't an impending doom? It's not Skynet. It's not our enemy. It's not coming after us. But how do we utilize the capabilities that AI is going to give us to make us more efficient? And the agent in 5 years is not going to be afraid of AI. They're going to be a friend of AI, and they're going to utilize it in as many processes as they possibly can in their business. And it's not necessarily going to be used for client information and data storage and things like that. The compliance just isn't there, and I really don't foresee it being there in the next 5 years. But it can really help with processes. It can really help with being creative. Justin talked about, you got to have a creative marketing mindset, and I think AI is going to lend a big hand to a lot of agents who may be a little creative, but they're not the best at what they do, and there may not be the greatest copywriters in the entire world, where they can utilize some of those AI tools to really push that forward for their business, for their agency, and really find success. You have to have tools that will work and integrate with AI to increase your capabilities, because ultimately, with the amount of people that are turning 65, the amount of people that are going to need ACA coverage, we as a conglomerate of agents across the country, we need to find ways to be more efficient, because there's going to be more people than ever that are going to need our help when it comes to making their coverage decision. And AI is going to need to be there as part of that process to help us be more efficient, so that we can do what we do best, and that's help people with these difficult decisions.
No, I couldn't agree more. You talked about Justin, and I'm going to talk about him like he's not here, and then we'll have him on. But Justin Brock has an incredible story in our industry. Growing his organization, and then ultimately having a sale and exit event to the tune of, and I don't want to sound crass, but I think to the tune of $70 million. Is that right, Justin?
That was our valuation up on our initial 51% exit. Yes.
That's truly remarkable. And to the 1,500 insurance agents on there, that means that Justin Brock had that type of exit at his agency, and that's unheard of. I think it might be one of the greatest events in the history of our industry. And if I'm an agent and I'm looking at 5 years, there's a lot of seasoned agents on here. We talk a lot about people who are onboarding and getting into the industry, but for the seasoned agents who are on here, who are saying, okay, in 5 years, maybe I want to exit. Maybe I'm approaching Medicare eligibility myself. I mean, I just turned 30, and I feel that it's happening to me. How do I position myself for what that could look like in 5 years? And there's a lot of folks on this call who have great crystal balls, but you've done it. What would that process look like for someone?
Oh yeah, I mean, when it comes to preparing for exits, I can give you an extremely lengthy answer. I'm gonna try to be quick here. the private equity market, gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And so they continue to make decisions with better information. They've spent money on companies and they've lost. They've spent money on companies and they've won, and they spent money on companies that they didn't do as well or as worse as they thought they would, or as well as they thought they would. But at the center of the typical private equity conversation, you're looking at your EBITDA and your growth curve. That is mostly still what they look for. Now, they are learning that sometimes that can burn the hell out of them. They have learned that. And then as exits come about, sometimes if you're looking for one of these, monstrous multiples on your earnings, you might have to go to new money. You might have to find the private equity group that isn't as seasoned and doesn't have the best information, because we have seen some people recently get 10 and 11x at what I would consider modest EBITDA size companies, but these were not, the Integrities and the AmeriLifes of the world. That they have a lot more information. They know exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for more product diversity. They're not looking for MA call centers, go figure. They're not looking for heat groups. They're looking for, they're looking to buy something that's going to have long-term staying power, product diversity, good position in the market, unique value proposition. Now there's a lot of people that talk about selling business and they're looking for SaaS enabled. And so that actually gets a little overplayed in my I think now, because being SaaS enabled means you have some sort of proprietary software. And so a lot of people think they can throw up a high level CRM or something like that and they're SaaS enabled, and that's just not the way it works anymore. You would actually have to have something unique. Now, RetireFlo is SaaS, is software, but it is a unique value proposition. Why is it unique? It serves a purpose very well. It's also got a great brand behind it. So that's a concept. It also has Dalton behind it, who's freaking awesome. And if I ever get him to sell that company, I would hire him in a heartbeat and pay him a lot of money to come work for me. But I know I'm not going to be able to do that because he's got a great thing going. So, when you're looking at it, that's one way to look at selling. The other concept here is when people get into, I want to sell, there's a book sale. So I can sell my book of business, but that's a gross commissions multiple, not an EBITDA. And honestly, I had somebody write me this morning, and we have it all the time. If you're trying to offload a book of business right now, it's I know there's a lot of people that are doing that. That does not make it a good time. When everyone wants to sell something, and then it's a supply and demand market. And so it's not necessarily a great time to sell your book of business, because it's probably not going to fetch a great multiple. It's probably a good time to buy books of business, because you can really, get some good ones at a steal right now. Of course, when we're looking at this AI landscape, in my opinion, it is like someone said before, I can't remember who said it. It is and it isn't going to change things in a lot. Somebody said, our agent's going to be here in 5 years. They are and they aren't. That is the true statement. But the agentic AI concept, when years ago you'd hear someone talk about building a bot to do something, and a bot would go in and it would go into a system and it would serve a purpose. Like it would say, I'm going to go into this portal and extract this data and put it over here. But every time a button would move, the bot would break. Agentic AI is, in the simplest form, means that it's now thinking. It's not just saying, I click here on the screen. It's saying the button moved. Oh, here it is. Boom. And that may seem like a really small thing, but it is a huge leap in that now we're starting to see millions of tools across the tech landscape created. And so salespeople, in my opinion, are some of the safest in the Medicare world, but task-oriented individuals, which this could be good for people that own agencies, but it's a little scary to me, because I have a big team, and I come into my office every day and I have 60 people in there, and we have thousands of agents we work with. And my thought is those 60 people are like my family, and I want them to have jobs and viability, and I have to figure out how to position us to make that happen. But if they are task oriented and can be replaced by agentic AI, which will happen really soon, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of those people. So we brought up lawyers and software developers and all these, but I'm talking about contracting employees. It will be just a few years from now, 2 years from now, maybe even a year from now, there will be organizations that have one contracting person doing what it takes 10 people to do now. That will happen. And so you're going to see massive change in the industry. I don't think it's on the sales side because, like I think Chris said, compliance is going to be difficult with AI, but task like manual labor, relationships are not getting offloaded by it, in my opinion. It's all going to be task oriented. So there is a big shift coming in the industry. It's not salespeople and it's not the owners, maybe some of the people you employ, and you guys should think about that, like, as how do I position my employees to be valuable to the industry in the future? And we're having real conversations with them. Like, it's time now to step up, because if you don't become more useful, you will be out of a job. Not because I want you to be out of a job, but because the market is freaking changing and people do need to pay attention.
And well, that might sound like it doesn't to me, and it doesn't to the people on this call. Like, this is a call to action to get better. It could have a little bit of a scary impact for the people who don't ride the wave. That isn't the 1,500 people on this call. It's the other agents who, I don't know what the heck they're doing today. I don't know if there's a better place to be than FLODay right now. But, if I guess my statement on this is this is an exciting opportunity for the people who are on this call, because while the pie of potential beneficiaries out there to serve is it's going to stay the same, or maybe shrink a little bit due to the decrease in boomers, there's going to be agents out there who capture more of that pie. There's going to be less agents who are participating in the market because there's going to be agentic AI forces out there that are so dominant. It's going to be all about smoothness, ease of enrollment, ease of getting access to that advice that you're looking for, and doing it in a nice professional way. And we feel like RetireFlo, has that branding element that feels like you. But Korey, from a technology perspective, how important is having a good enrollment experience? And because ultimately beneficiaries are always going to be making their own decisions, but making it go from point A to point B is a hard thing. And so what can agents look forward to in the next 5 years, and what that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I've been in the enrollment game for the last, 5, 6 years now, so I have lots of opinions about that. But I think something that's really important to keep in mind, and I have these conversations all the time now that I am at the age where my parents are turning 65. My dad's birthday is in 20 days, and it will be his 65th birthday. And I am the demographic that agents should be selling to. Right. Like, you're not just selling to the senior. Like, my parents, while my dad is a CTO, super smart, like, I'm the insurance person. I'm the person that they're going to come to. I'm their only child. And so I think that agents forget that you're not just selling to the senior, you're also selling to the, mid to late 30s, early 40s group of people who are helping their parents either purchase insurance for the first time or renew their plans. And obviously that's not everyone, but like, if you're not embracing technology and creating efficiencies, people like me are going to not want to work with you. Like, I
True.
literally, like, I will avoid booking a service somewhere if I'm booking a pedicure, right? Like, sorry guys, but we're getting some girl talk here. Like, I am not going. I'm literally going to avoid a business. I don't care if it's 5 stars. If the next business is 4.9 stars, but I can book it online and I don't have to talk to anybody, that's where I'm going to book my service. Right. And so, you
True.
have to think about your demographic, and it's not just the senior. And so I think online enrollment is obviously incredibly important, but systems like RetireFlo, where it does allow agent, or it allows the people that you're working with to kind of have a little bit of that hands-off experience. Like, I think you're always going to need an agent. I started as an agent, and like, I was so personally connected to my clients, right? Like, my mom was in this business. And so, like, some of the clients I inherited knew me since I was a little girl. And like, the relationship component is irreplaceable. And I will never believe that AI will replace that. But to Justin's
Great.
point and to many others, the administrative components and the tasks that you're doing behind the scenes, definitely concerning. And you just need to make sure that you're setting your business up to engage people in the most efficient way possible.
Hey,
All right.
Dalton, can I sprinkle on a little bit there? Because I really
Yeah,
agree with
yes,
what
you do.
Corey's
And then
saying.
I've got a very important question for you after
Okay.
this. Yes.
Really fast. We're talking about 5 years down the road. Think that we no longer will be in baby boomers. It'll be Generation X, and that's my generation. So I wholeheartedly agree with what Corey's saying. And not even just the kids of the seniors. I want to do things online. I want to be able to have self-service tools and things. So I think tech enabled is critical.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I wanted to ask this group, I had a very interesting question. I call this this is compliment time. Everybody in this group here works with agents, interface with agents every single day. And there are ones who are awesome, and there's ones who have some room for growth. I want to hear about the awesome ones. So I've asked everybody on this panel to, if there is an agent that you know who is going to stand the test of time, and what sets them apart from the agents that they don't. And so for our 1,500 people who are tuned in to this, look for these names and be watching them in the Facebook communities and maybe reach out to them on LinkedIn. But Calvin, give somebody that you work with a compliment, and what makes them stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of my friend Eric Danley, who's been working with me for almost 10 years now, and he will stand the test of time because he is the ultimate I answer my phone relationship guy. When his phone rings, he answers it. And so many agents, it's like, I'll let that go to voicemail. And there are good ways to use tech and everything like that. I'll let that go to voicemail. I'll see what it is or what have you. This guy answers his phone. He carries two phones with him everywhere. And so he's there for people because and I know that this turned into a lot of talk about AI, and I kind of started that, so I apologize. But when we talk about all of that, there's something that AI cannot replace, and it's human connection. And so he is a human connection guy, and I say he will be around for a long time.
Eric Danley. All right, number one. Glenn, talk to me about somebody that's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah, great question. So, again, I think, especially with technology like we've been talking about, kind of changing the game and changing the future, one of the ways that you can, whether you're an agent or you're the owner of an IMO or FMO, that you're going to be able to stand out and continue to grow is really being able to provide value without expecting anything in return. So I have to give a shout out to Christian Brindle, one of my best friends and
Brindle
business
Nation.
partners. Absolutely. He's, and from the beginning, and part of what attracted me to him many, many years ago is he was constantly giving away value without really expecting anything in return, giving things out into his Facebook group over at the Seven Figure Medical Agent Facebook group, things like the letters that he sends to his clients, pre-AEP letters, things that, Dalton, I think you may have even mentioned this as I was getting on, kind of the old school way, in a way a lot of agents and agency owners have operated for years, is they try to really safeguard what they're working on and what they're doing. And Christian has really kind of flipped the script on that from the beginning, where he's always constantly sharing, hey, at Everything Senior Insurance at ESI, this is what we're doing, check this out. And just giving it away to anyone who is either watching his YouTube videos over on his channel or in his Facebook group or on the podcast. And to me, whether you're an independent agent or an agency owner or you run an IMO, if you're continuously providing value to the marketplace, I think you'll always start to see reciprocation come back to you in the form of agents wanting to work with you, in the form of clients wanting to do business with you, getting those referrals. So I think that's huge. So yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Christian.
Yeah, Christian Brindle, this general concept of releasing content, talking about what you do, people find that organically they want to work with you, whether it's from an agent to an FMO perspective or simply a beneficiary to agent perspective. So I couldn't agree more. Chris, who's an agent that you know? You know quite a few.
Not to offend any of the JSA agents who are on the call, and I see you guys on the chat. I appreciate it. Um, I work with a ton of agents. I know a ton of agents. I've seen agents go from a small sole prop up to a large organization. And once again, I'm going to go back to my initial comment. It comes down to having that yes and attitude. And we work with an agency out in Colorado called RMA. And my buddy Ryan Murchie, who's on the call, I saw him chat before.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he's going to stand the test of time. And it's because when situations come up, problems come up in his market, whether it be products or distribution or networks or service or things like that, it's never a chicken little situation. It's never the sky is falling. It's okay, how do we take this opportunity and how do we run with it? And through the years, he has grown his agency because every single person that steps into the door that becomes an agent or partners with them or any of the team members that join his team, Ryan's attitude about that, about it's never doom and gloom, the sky's never falling, there's always an opportunity. It's so contagious within his agency that everybody works in that mantra. And it's really fun to see somebody who is tech forward, utilizes all the tools and resources, continues to be on the leading edge for his agents and his agency. It's fun to see him see a problem and then tackle it almost immediately. And then, I take advice from him. It's like, what are you doing? How is it going? Like, how are things working out here? And that attitude, that yes and attitude, and his ability to take every single negative and turn it into a positive tenfold it's awe-inspiring to this industry. And I would hope more agents would think like my friend Ryan Murchie.
I hope so too. I hope so too. I thought you might say Gordo, but I like Ryan all right.
I love Gordo too. Like I said, I can't
I know you can't pick
into the
favorites.
conversation. So
It's safe. You're safe. Korey, talk to me about somebody who's kicking butt and why they're going to be around in 5 years.
Yeah, so my good friend Elka Susana, she does a ton
Yes.
of speaking, and it's funny, like she was teaching people how to use AI like 5 or 6 years ago, before anybody was even talking about it. But I think she just has this very contagious energy about her, and I think she has really created an amazing name for herself by being incredibly authentic. And I think that that resonates with her clients, and I think it makes people want to work with her. I think that she does a great job giving back to the community, the agent community, and the industry. I think she's already done big things, and it's fun to just watch her grow. I remember like the first time I saw her speak, I think it was one of her first speaking engagements back at back when Nahu was Nahu, in the day, and it's just been fun to see her everywhere. And if you don't follow her, she also does a bunch of really fun baking stuff. And I think that people who take a time to actually like build their own personality and put their persona out into the social media universe, like it attracts people. People want to work with you. So
Elka is a great example. She is adopting new technology all the time, but she just has a sunny disposition, you
yeah.
know, and that's attractive for beneficiaries and other agents. And it's all this about attitude, and she takes on the right attitude. I've known her for a couple of years now. She's great. I didn't expect that, but I like that name. Justin, who comes to mind for you?
Well, Kanye just released a new album, so through Kanye fashion, I have to think me. I'm just kidding. Maybe two people. No, who knows if I'll be around? I'm a dinosaur at this point. The people that I would think of are, and kind of like Chris said, I don't want to offend any of our partners. I hope they're all around, and it's my mission to make sure as many of them are around as long as they want to be in the future. But guys like Matt Timmon and Brandon De La Pena and Matt Mitchell and Jesse Dreyer, we just have tremendous partners. Kyle Kokot. So I know I'm supposed to name one, but these are guys that Tim Provost, another one. These are guys that work with us collectively, and the amount of marketing ideas we come up with and operational ideas together. It's kind of the magic that is what Brock has become is like a collective group of just what I would consider some of the foremost marketers and agency builders in the industry. And so I think that all of those core group of guys are going to be around just because they're tirelessly working to think of the next thing. And there are people in the industry that do a great job like that as well, that aren't part of our group, and we look to some of those people too. But we know that there's a lot of people that are kind of copying things that we do that are we've done it a year ago and they're copying that, but we're some of those ones, and there's others out there that are looking for the next thing, the next big thing. And I just know those are the people. So yeah, there's a tremendous amount of people that I think are going to be around. Like I said before, agents that are winning right now are probably going to continue to win, but there is a big land grab right now of how big can you win? I think, the ones that are just like, well, is everything going to be the same? For you as an independent agent, as long as you go out and you really, harness that relationship power and you stay a really, really solid agent, I think you're going to stay around. But do you want to get 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, 1,000 times bigger? There's going to be billions of dollars in venture capital completely plummeted into this industry, but some unicorns are going to come out of that and be, huge in the future. But they're all doubling down on processes, building the right teams, and they all have RetireFlo. So
true, true. No, you're 100% right. When you listed off those names, and I know every single one of them. I mean, the Kokot brothers. I mean, the common thread in that group is they're gamers. These are people who want to win, who want to grow, and are not ashamed of, or not scared of having a larger book of business because they're confident that they can grow and scale with grace, that same level of professionalism will continue. And that takes confidence. I wasn't going to do this, but I'd like to. There's one that I think of, a woman by the name of Ronnie Bell. She's a Clevelander. She's a health markets agent. I believe she might be the #1 health markets agent in the country. Ronnie, the reason that I think of her, she's going to be around in 5 years, is because she's tapped in. She's coming to events like this. I hope she's on. I got to check. But she's at industry conferences. She's tuned in to the forefront of technology and what's coming down from CMS. And I think there's an element of just being interested in the industry that you're a part of. Going to Medicare Con, attending the event that your FMO is hosting before AEP, coming to events like this, going to Medicarians, whatever it might be. Just staying tapped in is incredibly important. Watching YouTube, watching the Facebook groups. I know the Facebook groups, Justin and Glenn can agree with me on this. They're hard organizations to manage, but at the same time, we're constantly keeps us up to date because we're constantly hearing from agents. So to this group, I want to say thank you. I'm immensely proud to have this many industry leaders on this event, and to have about 1,500 agents watch this throughout. It's pretty special. So Calvin, Glenn, Chris, Korey, Justin, thank you guys.
Thanks, Dalton.
Happy Thursday. Happy FLODay.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank
you,
you.
Dalton.